Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video, and today I'm going over a episode within series 4 of the Doctor Who modern series. I haven't really rewatched, well, I have been rewatching quite a few of David Tennant's run, not like marathon series 2 to the end of time part 1 and 2, but I wouldn't go that far, but I've definitely started rewatching some of them, some episodes that I like, some episodes I don't like, and some that are just in the middle. But of this recording today, I'll be talking about the Doctor Who episode, The Doctor's Daughter, and why I like it. I'll be honest though, my major gripe, just in the title alone, is The Doctor's Daughter. It's really clickbaity. It's very, you know, ooh, look at this, Telegraph and Argus, or, Radio Times, if you get where I'm coming from, it's kind of very, blunt and to the point, but it definitely gets people talking. Even people who just don't even really like Doctor Who or care about Doctor Who will probably be like flicking through the TV or TV guide type thing, or online or wherever, and be all like, huh, the next episode of Doctor Who is called The Doctor's Daughter. That sounds interesting, and might just even watch that episode. Because, behind the scenes wise, Russell T Davies did say that he was extremely happy with the mid-series, middle series 2 episodes, that usually you get a dip in ratings in terms of the sort of middle 2 episodes, and then you get, your highest ratings at the beginning of a series and at the end of a series, and usually everywhere in between is sort of very flux. Sometimes you get low ratings, sometimes you get high ratings, but in the middle you usually get that decline because people are just sort of dropping off because it's sort of just, filler, fluff, padding for a series. But he was very pleased with this series, as apparently the Agatha Christie, the Unicorn and the Wasp episode got some of them back up to 8 million views apparently, which is pretty massive. And then, with this one, I can imagine this one being, as I just said, very clickbaity, very, it sort of stirs the pot, almost. It stirs the pot, but also gets people talking, it gets the word of mouth going and that. But yeah, and I think the only other time they've really done that since The Doctor's Daughter is probably The Name of the Doctor, which is ironic because a lot of people sort of called out Doctor Who for being like, oh, well, it's just called The Name of the Doctor to get people excited, not actually going to find out the Doctor's name. And then, with this, though, no one seemed to bat an eyelid, so very strange. But yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I just think that this episode is okay. It's not the best story. My biggest positive for it is also simultaneously somehow its biggest negative, which is that it's way too basic. It is a basic story, which can either be a negative to some people or be a positive to others. And I'm slap bang in the middle about that, because although it's brilliant and it's positive that it's basic, because you can just watch this one, turn off your brain, watch it, and understand it. But then on the negative side, that's it. That's all you're getting. If you're looking for something more complex, like Genesis of the Daleks, Caves of Androzani, Under the Lake Before the Flood, type stories, you're not, any of the Big Finish stuff, Scherzo, The Last, any type of sort of big, sort of chunkier, sort of more fattier, sort of content-wise episode, you're not going to get that here. But on the flip side, if you don't like those sort of stories and you prefer stories where, as I say, you can just sort of switch your brain off to them, this is perfect for you then. But it is brilliant. It is good that it's basic in the fact that it gives this series, or it gives a lot of the Russell T Davies era, I think, has a lot more rewatchability, in the sense that there are a lot more sort of just standalone episodes, in the sense that, in retrospect, although all of Russell T Davies' era did have story arcs from series 1 to the end of time part 1 and 2, they were so sort of in the background and the characters came first, that you know, in retrospect now, I can watch, say, Gridlocked, and then watch, I don't know, the Series 2 finale, and then watch an episode from Series 1, and then watch, I don't know, End of Time Part 1 and 2, and not have this weird feeling of like, oh wait, I've not understood all these different story arcs, you know, whereas with a lot of Matt Smith's era, / even Peter Capaldi's, unfortunately, you know, I watch one episode from Series 9, I'm kind of like, wait, what's this bit got to do with anything, you know? Like, I rewatched Into the Dalek to do my why I like Doctor Who Into the Dalek episode review, episode review, and, you know, what took me out of that, as I said in the review, was the Missy, you know, part, you know, because it just felt crowbarred in, unnecessary, and in retrospect, rewatching just that story, it kind of confuses you. Well, it didn't confuse me, well, it kind of did and it didn't, because I obviously know that Missy is then in the finale, and then turns out to be the Master, but it still kind of confused me as to why she was there, and also it was a juxtaposition, so it took me out of the immersion of just that narrative story. And also, you know, as I say, like, if you never watched Doctor Who before and you just flicked onto that because there was nothing else on, and it was on like Watch or UK Gold, and I'm showing my age now, but let's say it was on one of those channels and you watched it for the first time, not knowing anything really about Doctor Who, you would be so confused as to that part. That might actually put some people off ever watching Doctor Who again, even if there's nothing on TV, maybe, you know, or it makes it that less bit rewatchable and that less accessible to those who have never watched Doctor Who before. If the overall story act's so in your face. Character-wise, Jenny is really, really good character. There's Donna, there's Martha. Martha is so here, very hit and miss, you know, she just feels like she's overshadowed. I definitely go in the hierarchy, it goes in terms of the companion / side characters, Jenny, then, or maybe Donna, Jenny, and then Martha. General Cub is really good, like the actor who plays him is superb. The music in this one's really, really good. And fun fact, there are two places, or two sets at least, in this episode that get reused later down the line. One being the Jenny spaceship that at the end, that gets used as Clara Oswald's Dalek-like base thing, you know, what she lived in as she was a Dalek. And that. And then the other one is that sort of big theatre-y type place, like thing, that was also used in Nightmare in Silver, so, but yeah, it's decent, it's just very basic. The Hath are really beautifully designed. My only gripe with them is the fact that they can't speak, so I do feel there's limitations there, but aesthetically they are beautiful, and I think they need to come back. I think they're definitely the epitome of a one-hit wonder, but it would be nice to just see them again, maybe on their planet, maybe it could be an underwater planet. I would love to see an underwater planet, just a full-on planet ensconced in all water, you know, and the Doctor opens like the TARDIS doors, and there's just water gushes in and that, and then he has to like try and push the doors back and that, and then has to get like a specialised, you know, wetsuit type thing to go in to the thing, and then it's all just point of view shots from the Doctor just looking out at all these like fish-like creatures, and they have like a world there. That would be brilliant. Don't know why they haven't done that yet in terms of a Doctor Who story. The sets and the sort of places they are in are very dull and boring and basic again. I think the best bit, or two highlights for me, two of the biggest highlights were the 10th Doctor talking about Gallifrey and the Time War, and then that music and that theme. That was superb, and that was brilliant and on point. Where this episode shines is primarily the characters and the music. I think besides those two things, you're not going to get else out of this story. And that, so yeah, story's really basic. The characters are really good and really developed and really, not, I won't go so far to say complex, but really good. And then, as I say, the music's really on point in this episode. Very music heavy story or episode, yeah. And then the other bit that I loved was, as I say, the bit with the 10th Doctor being magnificently awesome, talking about Gallifrey and the Time War. And then the other bit where he's like, you know, there's that intense music and he's got that gun to General Cobb and he's like, I never would. And then just like chucks the gun and that. And then he's like, make this place a foundation that would never, or the foundation of this place, a man who never would. And then like breaks that sphere thing and that. So that was really cool because again, you very rarely see in the modern series the Doctor have a gun, so I think there's very few glimpses of him even pick up a gun visually are just mind-bogglingly like, oh my god, what? Like when I saw that in A Town Called Mercy with Matt Smith's Doctor when he was holding a gun, you know, I know in the classic series, you know, you had Tom Baker snapping people's necks and punching people in the face, and you had, you know, John Pertwee being a badass sword fighting the Master, but in the modern series they're all just, you know, pussies and and just, you know, they oppose violence. But then again, in the context of the show, it kind of makes sense, you know, in terms of, you know, the War Doctor and then, you know, the modern series. So it kind of makes sense that they'd be anti-guns and anti-war. And in this story, especially considering the Doctor earlier on went on about the Time War and how he really despised it and sort of, yeah, had to fight on the front lines and all that. And, yeah, I really do feel like this story is a very, very, like, it's weird that it's very much a modern story, but it feels so much like a Peter Davison story. You know, you've got 3 companions and the Doctor. You've got Martha, Jenny, Donna, and the Doctor. Who else had 3 companions? Nyssa, Tegan, Adric, and then the 5th Doctor. It really does feel like a Peter Davison story. It does, because it just feels like even the Sonic only gets used once. You only see it once or twice in a few shots here and there. They're barely ever in the TARDIS. The TARDIS looks really teeny tiny in retrospect now, looking back on it. The Sonic just opens a door and that's it. He uses like a little mouse thing to distract a guard, and then Jenny like hits him and that. You know, they're in a cell and he just doesn't even bother to use the Sonic to open the cell door. Then again, there is a guard there, but still, you know, Jenny has to like distract him with her womanly ways. But you know, so it did feel, it just gave me this like flash of like, whoa, this just so could easily be a Peter Davison story. But then again, I guess the music wouldn't be as good personally, in my opinion. And the sort of prosthetics and effects of the lasers and the shooting people weapons and the other stuff, the CG sort of portion of this episode wouldn't have been as good, and the, you know, prosthetics for the fish-like people / Hath wouldn't be as good. So, but again, it does feel very Peter Davison-esque story. So if you're a big fan of Peter Davison stories, and for some reason you've watched the classic series but not the modern series, for some strange reason, I would highly recommend you probably maybe could start with the Doctor's Daughter. And I would love Jenny to come back. I know in the original story, she was supposed to hit that moon. She was supposed to go and crash into the moon. Russell T Davies wrote it that way, but Stephen Moffat actually said, no, that's way too Star Trek, and that to kill off a character at the end of an episode. This is Doctor Who, this isn't Star Trek. I don't think we should do that because, yeah, it's very Star Trek-esque. And so he was like, yeah, fine, okay. And so Jenny survived because of Stephen Moffat. So one of the very few good times he's let a character live. The only difference being a lot of people did really want Maisie Williams' character in Series 9 to be the Doctor's daughter, because she was like, did you miss me? And that, you know, like, and come across like she'd met the Doctor before, so people were theorising maybe it's Susan, maybe it's the Doctor's daughter, because we haven't seen Jenny since, since the Doctor's Daughter, all the way back in Series 4, so, and I would really like to see it, to see her even, a meet up between her and the Doctor again, and that, and see what the reaction would be of the Doctor. Primarily, it would be nice to see that with the 12th Doctor, but the way the things are going, that's becoming highly unlikely. But it would have just been nice because, you know, the 12th Doctor is the most in terms of the modern series at least, most alien / detached emotionally as well. Well, Chris Eccleston and 12. But yeah, in recent years, definitely 12 being the most detached and emotionally distant Doctor we've had. So it would be interesting to see someone very close to him on an emotional level, you know, come to him and see what his reaction would be. Would he still be cold? Would he still give her the cold shoulder? Would he open up to her? Would he not, because he fears that she'd just die, maybe? You know, the possibilities would be interesting in terms of the drama and the storytelling potential there. But again, with Series 10 on the horizon, I genuinely don't think she's going to be coming back anytime soon, at least in Capaldi's run. Hopefully maybe with Chris Chibnall we'll get Jenny back. But yeah, so overall, The Doctor's Daughter, I would just give a 5 out of 10, just a basic 5 out of 10. It's okay, it's nothing to write home about. Thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.